which hair type do you have? This is something that is a very important topic and something that you may have asked yourself or tried to figure out or just guessed on your own. But you can have fine hair, you can have thick hair, coarse hair, wiry hair, frizzy hair, thin hair. I mean, there's a whole variety of different hair types you may have, and I want to kind of discuss some of them to help you. So sometimes you may think it's fairly obvious what hair type you have, when in fact, after being in my career and working on thousands of clients, I've come to the conclusion, and even my hands-on experience, that sometimes someone's hair may look like there's a ton of it, but the hair strands itself or themselves are actually fairly fine and sometimes very easy to break off or snap off. For example, a mannequin like this or hair type like this. Now this is all human hair, just so you know, this is all human hair. But each individual hair that I'm pulling right here is very, very, very fine. There's just so much hair, and I can easily just snap this in half, just like I just did there. I can just pull it, and it breaks right off, and there it is. So you can have tons of hair like this, but each individual strand is very fine. So you may be prone to seeing, quite a bit of breakage or shedding, things like that, which is completely normal because you have so much hair that, it's not like you're losing your hair or hair that's falling out or you're going bald or anything. That will become more obvious in a different kind of way. But if your hair always looks like you've got a ton of it and you just see more hair coming out like in the shower, things like that, it's just finer hair has a tendency to break a lot easier. Or even, thin hair, fine hair, it's kind of like the same category. Thinning, if you are thinning, that means you're balding. But thin hair, fine hair, it kind of is of the same category. Thin hair typically means that you don't have as much hair. So, I've got very thin hair. Typically you can see the scalp a bit more. You can have thin, thick hair, right? It means you could be thinning, but your hair itself is very, very thick. So there's a lot of combinations you can have. You can have a ton of hair like this, and it's very, very thick. So, that just goes to show you that there's, again, a lot of hair texture. So this one itself, this is like extremely thick hair, okay? Very, very, very thick hair. And this is a situation where this may be, you may feel like your head gets a little, hot or somewhat sweaty sometimes, or you just feel like you have so much hair in your head that you got to make sure that, you get it thinned out, especially when you're going to get your hair cut. So if you've got thick hair and you have a lot of thick hair, you may need to get your hair thinned all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. It actually creates a lot of texture, especially for haircuts like this, where, it's a bit on the shorter side in through here. However, it's one of those things where you may need to have this texturized on top right in through here, and you may feel like, oh my gosh, you're taking so much hair off. But what that's doing, it's actually creating a lot more texture up here, and it's removing a lot of that bulk, so it's not so heavy. If your hair is very, very coarse, that also can mean you have very thick hair, but it tends to feel, somewhat dry, somewhat brittle. Sometimes that can be a little more obvious. Like if your hair looks frizzy all the time, it's got like kind of a weird, kind of wiry, kinky feel to it. It's very, very, the hair strands itself are like really thick. You could see it, like sometimes, Asian hair, Spanish, like different ethnicities. It's basically, Italian, I mean, anything European, like there's a lot of Europeans who have very fine, very, very light hair, like this is their natural color, but the hair itself is very, very fine. or you can have, where the hair is really, really dark, jet black, and it's like needles. When I would cut hair, sometimes the hair is so thick that if I got a hair splinter, it was like excruciating because the hair itself was so thick, each individual hair strand. So I think what you need to do is just examine your hair, maybe spend a few minutes looking, get up close in the mirror, kind of look in the mirror and see what you're seeing and look at each individual strand and, maybe pluck one out. And if you're trying to pull and nothing's happening, it's not snapping, you probably have really, really thick hair. But if you take a strand and you just pull it and it snaps, then you have, finer hair. And then you have to figure out how are you going to style it, what types of products are best for you, what type of haircut is best for you. And I've got numerous videos on, those types of things, like what's the best products for your hair types and stuff like that. But let me know in the comments below, what hair type do you have? Do kind of a self-analysis, or what has your professional told you? I want the comments flooded with your hair types and stuff. So let me know in the comments below. Don't forget, use code YouTube20 at shop.thesalonguy.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.